Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another edition of StarCraft2 Legacy of the Void. And today from Blizzcon, we have SpeCial versus Stats here on Asaplant, the Ladder Edition. Top left-hand corner, the blue player SpeCial from Mexico, and in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player Stats hailing from Korea. And it's going to be a TVP. I figure I hadn't cast one of these for a while. A lot of PvZ on the channel lately, so I figured I would give you TVP fans a special treat. Hey! Ugh, I have to go to shameful puns in my Discord server now. Accidental puns count as puns, as I argued against Caden a couple weeks ago, so if you want to see me, click the link in the description to go to the Discord server, Falcon Paladin, and hit me up in the channel, Shameful Puns. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Special proxying barracks here in the middle of the map. The scouting probe did not see it, but the scouting probe does see that there's not a barracks inside the main. He says, double gas? No barracks? Why special for me? This is actually the final game in this series that they played. Not going to tell you how many games there were because I don't think that's necessarily important and it might spoil some other stuff, but this was the final match for SpeCial and Stats. This is basically one of these players is win and go on and win and go home as the other guy, and this is what SpeCial's doing. In a very high pressure situation at Blizzcon, immediate zealot out for Stats, recognizing, okay, I need something. I can't necessarily wait for an Adept. I can't necessarily wait for a Stalker to come out. My Cybernetics core is on the way, but not even close to done yet. And who's going for the proxy on the other side? It is Stats. Stats is going for the proxy Stargate on the other side. I have to assume that's what that is, based on that placement, because it's just the direct as the crow flies distance here to the main base of SpeCial. And he's throwing up a reactor on the barracks, the factory. Yeah, this is going to be cyclone pressure. This is going to be reactored cyclone pressure, which is not something you'll be able to do in the next patch of StarCraft2, so do it while you can, Terran players, as cyclones will require a tech lab to build, or did I say cyclones? Factories will require a tech lab to build cyclones. Terran fans not super happy about it, but they did give some additional damage output for the cyclone, and it's just, I don't know, it's a lot of changes. It's hard to see exactly if it's going to be better or worse based on what we've read so far, so I don't know. Cyclone on the way here from SpeCial. There we go. Second cyclone on the way from SpeCial. This is going to be a Stargate out of Stats. Again, that placement, I don't know what else it would be. And an Adept and a Zealot coming over just to make sure this doesn't get shut down by, like, a Marine. Ooh, the Marine did end up seeing this, but he keeps moving on. He sees that war. Oh, SpeCial did not go back to check what this thing is. It is an Oracle. It is an Oracle. I'm not going to name it. There's too much going on at this stage of the game right now. We have these cyclones just about to pop. The probe ends up scouting the proxy fact for the first time and will die for its trouble. Actually, zippity zippy zap. No, the cyclone's a little bit faster. Just barely faster. Especially if angles are involved here. And bam. Goes down. Adept and Zealot in trouble here too. The cyclones are actually not attacking the front door of Stats because these units are out on the map, which is really good. A Stalker comes over, some Widowmines coming in from SpeCial to try to handle this. Oracle flew in, did end up getting 0 kills thanks to the missile turret that was placed up. So yeah, SpeCial noticed this and just didn't react to it at the time. Cyclone's going to knock down that Stargate that's been proxied. Adept's in here trying to get rid of the reactor on that factory. Oh, drew it into the Widowmine that was hiding behind the factory. There's the revelation. And now the Widowmines just have to flee and get out of there. Zealot coming in to get out, run, and the Cyclones get rid of the proxy pylon. This factory looks like it's going to die as well here. Is that a... what is this bar? Oh, it was a supply block. SpeCial was just barely supply blocked. He was trying to make Widowmines and he couldn't. Look at this proxy starport over here for SpeCial. This game is starting out in Crazy Town, you guys. It's going to be a Cloaked Banshee follow-up from SpeCial, but guess who's going to see this? Oracle, ahoy! Oracle comes in and says, aha, I see what you're doing. I don't have the energy to Pulsar Beam right now, but I will send the rest of my minions over to take down that tech lab if at all possible. There's the cancel, and he goes for a Raven instead, which seems like a smarter choice here. He's not getting Cloak finished. That tech lab is going to die unless the Stalker wants to take down the SCV. Some interesting priorities from these players. I mean, this factory is still here. We're pushing in with a double Cyclone, the Widowmine back here too, and the Marine with an SCV and the nice shield battery up at the top of the ramp here for Stats. He's got additional Stalkers ready and waiting for a Banshee to come in and try to kill him. Does he have detection is the question. Yes, an observer is on the way here too. So Stats playing this exceptionally smart, as again, Stats is one of the top Protoss players on planet Earth right now, if not the top Protoss player on planet Earth. And look, he is getting Cloak. He's like, well, if you're not going to kill my tech lab, I'm going to try to get Cloak. But then the Stalker shows up and tries to cause some problems, and then he cancels it by lifting his starport, which is something they're going to change too. It's a quality of life change for Terran, where if you try to lift up a building that is attached to an add-on that is researching, a tech lab that is researching, it won't let you do it. It'll warn you that you're researching something right now. Until you lift this, it'll cancel it. So you have to cancel the upgrade and then lift the building. Terran players I talk to say that has happened to them more than once, and they're pretty happy about that quality of life change. Stalkers out here for Stats. They're going to take down this here starport. Kabbalah, 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 and there's no way that's getting home. There's just not enough on the ground for Special to just take out that many Stalkers. That's a huge number of Stalkers. That's 9 Stalkers right now. Is Blink being researched? No. No Blink. Not many upgrades at all for either player, honestly. That's what we've seen there. So here comes a non-Blink Stalker pressure. Bunker at the top of the ramp. Couple Cyclones here too, and a Raven for anti-armor missile. Or auto turret possibly too. I just don't see this working out for Stats. He's setting up a bit of a contain while he expands back home, which is just a genius play. Genius level play here out of Stats. He's going to go ahead and expand and contain on the other side, trying to get a shot off on one of those Cyclones, and possibly they could. If every one of those Stalkers got a shot off on the Cyclone, they might be able to one-shot it. Again, it's been lowered in HP in the new patch. I actually cast a couple games on the new patch featuring players such as Tasia and such as Creator and Keen and True. If you want to see those, they're on Laughing Games YouTube channel. I co-cast with him. He's a Canadian caster. I like him a lot. He invited me to cast these Africa World events on his Twitch channel out on Africa, and then he uploads them to YouTube later. So I'll put a link in the description if you want to check out the Laughing Games channel where I co-cast a bunch of stuff, including new patch stuff. Then click on that link and maybe come back to this game. Or nicely done, picking off the tank from the low ground are these Stalkers. The Marines can't handle this many Stalkers, definitely not, and this base a little bit prematurely floating on out here. Doesn't like what he sees. What the? Oh, the Raven throwing down auto turret. Got a couple probe kills here at the natural base, but really not super game-changey. If I had to guess, another couple auto turrets going down, getting focused down a little bit here. One of them gets focused down. That's a lot of lost mining time, though, for this level of StarCraft. And now Special's pushing out, and now he has enough Marines and Cyclones and a couple Marauders. Really, the Marauders kind of turning the table there and making it a different situation. Another tank sets up on this high ground, and now there's really nowhere for the tanks to, or the Stalkers to go without taking tank fire. It's not something they want to do. Expansion lands for Special. He really feels like he should have done that a while ago. But he's got it down at 37 to 41 workers. Stats is ahead. He's had his expansion for a while. He's got Disruptor tech, which pretty good. Special splits are some of the best among the world for Terrans, though. I mean, Terrans in general know how to split. They've been splitting against Banelings since Wings of Liberty. It's nothing new to them. So if you've been playing StarCraft at all since Wings of Liberty came out, splitting is just not that big of a deal. Oracle does have 2 kills. Threw out a nice revelation on this army here, too, keeping it alive. Tech Lab sitting up here, making me think it's a Raven or something, but it's not, and a bit of a Cyclone drop. Boosting around this right side, we're going to put some pressure on the front for Special, and then try to come around the inside of the main base as well. But guess who's moving over here? Stats. Stats is pushing out at the same time a little bit. He does have a nice stasis ward at the bottom of this ramp. He's throwing one at the top of this other ramp here, too. He knows where Special is going to come. Is he going to try to bait into this? I don't know if he's even going to bother. Nice pick off there. No, the Raven gets picked off. Another Nova getting a handful more of Marines. Okay, Special not exactly reacting well to this Disruptor tech right now. He needs to make a change. Adepts, we are warping in Zealots, rather, to deal with these Cyclones, and they really want to take down that Artosis pylon. I mean, that would be a good target, honestly. This Artosis pylon is juicy. That said, Oracle comes in, Pulsar Beam trying to do some stuff. A Disruptor does pop out more Zealots here, and 4 probes end up getting killed there. Not as much damage as you would think, considering 2 Cyclones dropped inside the main base for a good 10 or 15 seconds, but you do what you can do. You got to deal with warp-ins and the response from Stats there, too, if you're going to make something big happen. Third base under construction on site here for Special, which is very, very brazen of him. Continuing to make tanks, Marauders, and Marines heading down this left side here is Special. He's going to find this pylon that Stats just tossed up as an early warning for drops. Thank you for coming, but no thank you for coming. Oracle going to pick off this SCV, building the third base. That's maybe why you don't build on site necessarily. That said, the Oracle sticks around, gets a little greedy, and is punished by the Marines on the ground there. The Marines do have +1 and combat shield and stim. So +1 attack, +1 infantry armor is on the way here. Again, we have more Stalker. Ugh. We have some more Stalker, boy, Disruptor style stuff here. 120 to 106 supply right now. Special is up in that stage. I love the Marauders. He's just got to do a better job. There you go. Moving the 1 Marine in to trigger the Disruptor hit. They are making changes to the Disruptor 2 in the future patch towards going back to where it was in a previous iteration of the Disruptor, dropping Cyclones here, picking off a couple units, getting a stock. Well, now they have to kill stuff because their medevac got killed, but they get wiped out instead. Continuing to push here. Disruptors, yeah, getting some decent hits off. So the Disruptor, what it's going to be later on, when that new patch is released, is back what it was, I want to say a couple years ago now, where the purification of it goes into the units, and it expires after a timer. It's more of a timed detonation than it's triggered by anything. Right now, when the center of the purification Nova hits something, it will explode the whole thing. Whereas what it used to be and what it will be in the future is the Nova comes in, it sits on top of your units for a while, and after 2 seconds it goes bah. So it's really, I'm not a huge fan of that change, to be honest, just because I feel like the only way to counter it is to split exceptionally well. Whereas now, you can send a single Marine or a single Zergling into a Nova as it's coming at you and trigger it, thereby making it a lot less effective than it otherwise would be. Marines and Marauders stimming forward. The Stalkers are a bit bait here. A little bit bait, taking out that Marine quite nicely. Another Nova catching a Marauder from the backside, though. Some pretty effective stuff here. Out of stats thus far, as third base is happily running back home. Setting up a bit of an attempt to contain here is stats. He has enough Disruptors to really make this difficult for Special, which is just so annoying for the Terran player. Again, he hasn't lost huge groups of units to these guys, but they've done some work. That guy's got 6 kills. This one has 0. That one has 8. So we've got, again, just good kill counts among these Disruptors. Working on an armory, likely just going to be for the +3/+3 upgrade path for the infantry units. For Special, and losses here about 4,000 for Special and 3,000 for Stats. So Stats has been more cost efficient to this point, which Protoss generally is, and especially when your opponent's going bio, you can get some shots off against them and be a little bit less efficient and be okay as a Terran player. He's trying to sneak down this bottom side. I see you, Liberators. I see what's up. Nova dodging up here toward the middle of the map here. Again, Disruptor just so hard to engage with the Grand Army against a player who knows what they're doing with them. And Stats definitely does. Liberator sets up at the third base, gets some nice, decent, juicy probe kills, and then sets up another Liberator somewhere else. Are you just going, wow, just absolutely going for the natural base like a boss, and then attacking into the third base of, or the fourth base of Stats 2. Might force to cancel on that Nexus, and he doesn't even force to cancel. It just straight up murders the Nexus. Well played. This Liberator gets killed at the third base. This Liberator at the natural base has 9 kills, and 12 probes have gone down, and the fourth base was destroyed. Guess what's happening over here? A Zealot drop. Doesn't get enough SAVs to actually trigger the WCS Game Heart interface. It didn't do enough damage there, and then heading up to the corner to hide for the time being. All right, Stats has to get something done here. He's pushing out. He lost a good number of workers. He's down about 10 worker supply to his opponent. His fourth base got wrecked. There too, losses up to the 4,400 mark for Stats. Sensor Tower, though, making it really hard to move in with the ground army without Special knowing you're coming. And if Special knows you're coming, it's a bad thing. Zealots dropping in again, trying to get some kills on Marauders and Marines or whatever they can find. And then just flying away, recognizing there's really nothing to stop this Warp Prism at all, although Vikings are in production now for Special. Yeah, we're just doing the dance here. This is the same thing. The Stalker Disruptor dance. We have Marines and Marauders. We're not going to attack into that because if we do, Disruptors will wreck our face. Zealots took down a supply depot up here. I think that's what that was, and this is where you're stuck. The Viking getting some free shots off, trying to recall out before it dies, and it does manage to get out. Does it manage to get out? Or did the shot follow it? No, it got out. Here it is. Here it is. That'd be amazing if the shot was on its way as the recall happened. If the shot went with it, that'd be incredible. More Purification Novas coming in. Nova 1, Nova 2, Nova 3. Getting a couple hits on that last one. And the fourth one, too. Getting some decent hits off there. More Novas coming down that ramp. Stalkers on the high ground. Zealots on the high ground. High Templar here for Stats now. This is what you want against this largely bio composition out of Special. Sure, it's a lot of Marauders and a lot of tanks here, but Storms are going to be good. Nevertheless, these High Templar are kind of bait. Again, I think this is Stats leaving those out, hoping that Special will charge in just kind of blindly. Both players going after the debris that lead into the other player's third base location. It's easier for SpeCial to do as his damage output is a little bit better. The fourth base of Stats is going to die. The third base of SpeCial is going to die as well. He's trying. I don't know about this. The tank count kind of keeping Stats over on this side while the orbital command flies away. Guess who's marching on in? It's SpeCial. He's trying to get in. Takes a storm to the face right there. Also going to snipe down the natural base, and he does end up getting it. Stats not so good there. Stats losing 2 Nexuses there. Meanwhile, does manage to keep his third base, does SpeCial, and land a fourth base at about the same time here. He's thinking about it. The command center is ready to go, and there it is. 3 probes get killed. Army supply is 116 to 121, so it's fairly close right now. It's just that SpeCial has a potential for a lot of income over the next couple of minutes here that Stats does not have. He, again, is in a position where he needs to make something happen. Medivacs flying home, picking off a couple of those would be a good start, but the tank's on the high ground for SpeCial. Serious deal here. Really serious deal here, and you really don't want to engage with that, especially when you have so many stalkers on the ground, and tanks just do so well against them. A small Marine group heading down to see what they can see. I mean, they're going to be intercepted by a smaller group of Stats army, but definitely enough to deal with some overstimmed Marines. And marching up to this fourth base location is Stats. Planetary Fortress is done. Liberators are here. Need to set up those defender mode circles. Purification Nova's coming on in. Repair on the Planetary Fortress. Woo! Marauder Corps thrown over there. Viking, overextending just a little bit there, but again, forced away by the Planetary Fortress and Liberator combination is Stats. Tanks setting up in a great position. Stats just running away from the tanks there, and coming in again is SpeCial. He's going to force Stats to lose his fourth base again. There's a cancel on that fourth base. Zealots getting right on top of these tanks, though, and these Marines. These guys came from way over on the left side to make this thing happen. SpeCial is not worried about it. He's a little bit overstimmed, though, down here. He doesn't want to take any more storms, and he's actually fleeing from this location entirely. Zealots still putting in work, man. They are actually picking off reinforcing Marines as they try to come out of these barracks and make stuff happen. Finally, some Marines and Marauders are tasked with killing them, and they should be able to clear them out, especially with the Medivacs healing up and some good micro at the hands of SpeCial here. So coming all the way back home, he needs to get healed up is what he has to do. He feels like he has a decent lead. The natural base is back for Stats. The fourth base is coming back for Stats. Zealots coming up this left side again. They're going to come into this orbital command, which is not a planetary fortress, mind you, and just going to go to town on these SCVs. How many workers have died? 25 workers have been killed by SpeCial. He's only lost 5. On the other end of it, he's done a really good job keeping his dudes alive, as a Zealot gets slowed and almost killed, but manages to make it on home. At least he won't die in the next couple of seconds here. I keep tapping that, don't I? I keep tapping tilde, and I'll be more careful with that in the future. Goodbye, Liberator. It was nice seeing you fly in just general direction. I guess that's kind of what Stats is going for here, is like, if any drops come this way, I'll just murder them. How's that sound? Great. Tank count for SpeCial is...
We could use some help here.
Big engagement here, coming on up towards this third base. Archon's in the front, just doing so well against this bio. A storm on the mineral line, 4 SCVs killed. The tank's problematic. Nice storm on this chasing bio, really working into that number. Dancing back again, another storm available. How many storms does Stats have? He's got a couple more in here. I feel like he's got at least one more. Yep, enough energy on that one to throw a storm down at least. Marines Marauder for SpeCial, pushing it across the map. Trying to get something done here. They've just been on the defensive for a little bit too long. Nice recall, and there are High Templar sitting here waiting for you to come in. So at the very least, it dragged Stats army away from SpeCial's third base, which is a pretty baller move by him. Both players throwing up not production, but supply facilities here. A pylon and a supply depot just to see if future drops are coming this direction. That's some really funny stuff. Both players using that same strategy. All right, how are the upgrades? +3/+3 for the Archons and the Zealots and the Immortals and the Stalkers. 2/2, 3/3 is just about done. However, for our Terran player, that said, the storms are everywhere. Third base by SpeCial is going to die. The fourth base by Stats, it looks like, is going to die here too. He's got ghosts in the mix to SpeCial, and then attacking into the fourth base of SpeCial here too is an army from Stats. The third base goes down. The fourth base for Stats goes down. The fourth base by SpeCial goes down seconds later here. A tank left behind is not going to be enough. 23, 24 SCVs have gone down. Suddenly it's 200 to 118 supply. The tanks have not been doing much here for SpeCial at all. They are needed for base defense possibly, but they're here stuck in the middle of the map defending this new fifth base by SpeCial that he tried to get up, but he couldn't quite do it here. Marines and Marauders trying desperately to micro. They do take down an Immortal while taking a storm to the face there too. And again, in the hands of an amazing player who has good micro, he can make something happen against this style of an army, but it's 194 to 104 supply. The storms are so stupid good right now for Stats. So incredibly good. He has this nice composition down here with Stalkers, High Templar, Disruptor. He's got an Immortal in there too with 5 kills. Another one with 3. The Archon is sitting here at 0, not pulling his weight at all. Tanks up for SpeCial, but again, the tanks just aren't useful if an army's marching into your natural base. They're not here to defend much of anything else right now, is the problem. Nice storm on the SCVs. Good pull, though, by SpeCial. The reaction time, fantastic there. And it looked like Stats is trying to set up for a bit of a surround here. Top side, bottom side, maybe come down this ramp while you're coming down this other ramp, but that's a hard place to engage when there are this many tanks on the ground. They all have +1 attack. As is tradition, +1 tanks seem to be the sweet spot for a lot of Terrans versus both Zerg and Protoss. I need to learn the math behind that. I'm sure it's something that makes a lot of sense. And here he goes. There's a tank defending here. The natural 2 tanks. One tank is going to die. The other one on the high ground can only do so much against this. And I think it's bait. I think he wants SpeCial to come up and try to save this, and then he'll flank him from that side. But yeah, 8 SCVs going down. Tank on the high ground has 4 kills, but can only do, again, so much against these other units. Finally gets taken down here. And yeah, the storm from the units that try to engage from this back side, but the natural base gets exploded, storming everything that tries to come through here. And there's the flank attack. Tanks on the low ground doing some pretty good work here for SpeCial, though, but the Purification Nova Storm combination is just too much, and that's your good game. SpeCial is defeated in 21 minutes and 55 seconds, and Stats is your winner. Wow. That final engagement, you guys. The storms on the left side coming down, storming the tanks. Purification Nova's on the tanks there, too. Oh, the bio. That is just so much storm. So much storm. Resources lost. 32,000 for SpeCial, 17,000 for Stats. Boy, howdy, Stats. What an absolutely impressive game that was. He lost this Nexus 3 or 4 times. He lost his natural ones, which is hard to do and come back and win. But he did. He persevered. He replaced the probes that got killed. He ended up losing 26, but killed 62 of his own. That final battle really inflated those totals. It didn't really matter. I mean, I've always figured that workers that get killed in that final push just don't have much to do with the overall state of the game, if that makes any sense. Boy, Blizzcon has some great games. Hey, if you have any games you'd like to see me cast from Blizzcon or any series in particular, let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to put them on a list and I'll cast them over the next coming weeks here. But anyway, that's going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void and Blizzcon 2018. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me at Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.